working on this particular goal with some success. And then I am sure that some of you may have a resolution or a goal that you really want to achieve, but you may be kind of struggling to get there. So what I really want to focus on today is giving you practical ways to really achieve these goals and resolutions. So according to the University of Scranton, this was published in 2012, these were the top 10 most common resolutions. And I'm sure it's not going to surprise you that losing weight is number one. Getting organized, getting out of debt, quitting smoking, exercising more. You know, I'm sure all of these look familiar to you, and maybe they're even the same for you every single year. And I think what happens is we get stuck in selecting these same resolutions. So every New Year's Eve we say, yep, this is the year, getting out of debt this year. And something derails us. We get out of that goal mindset, and then the next New Year's Eve comes around and we say, this is the year, I'm going to get out of debt. So my goal for you today is to break out of this resolution repeat cycle so you can accomplish what you're setting out for. And then next year, you'll be able to select a brand new resolution. So it always starts with a mindset. If you make the shift from wanting to accomplish something to trying to accomplish something, you're going to be 10 times more likely to succeed. And the reason this is true is because this time you're actually going to have a plan put in place. So just to give you an example, if you're in the mindset of wanting to make a change, you might be thinking, I really wish that I could lose 30 pounds this year. If you change your mindset to trying to make that goal happen, you might say, I'm going to join a weight loss program to lose 30 pounds this year. So you are ready to put that plan in place. So we all want results. We all want them quickly. We are all humans, and we're impatient, and we want to, accomplish what we set out to do, and we want to do it quickly. So I think the most important thing is setting yourself up for success by believing in the goal that you set. You need to be confident in this, because whatever you believe becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what you believe is true, whether that is I can accomplish this or I can't accomplish this. Either way, that's going to be true. And there's a saying, where my intention and thoughts go, energy flows. And I think this is a good example because wherever you send your energy and your thoughts, whether they're positive thoughts or they're negative thoughts, that's going to feed that result. So always remember, your mind is super powerful in helping you accomplish those goals that you set out to do. Now, of course, that being said, you do need to be realistic about your goal. This has to be something that fits into your lifestyle. You, for example, want to make sure that you don't go from not doing any exercise to maybe working out 6 times per week at a really intense pace, because chances are you are going to get really fatigued, you're going to be really sore, and it may get to the point where going 6 days a week just really doesn't fit into your long-term day-to-day lifestyle. You also don't want to go from eating anything you want to saying that you are going to eliminate all sugar, all carbs, and all dairy. And I know that's super tempting to do because that, is a mindset that you think will get you to this ultimate goal very quickly. And this may last for a little while, but then what will happen is you'll tend to probably backslide a little bit. So just always kind of keeping in mind those small changes, remembering that all of these changes are a marathon, not a sprint. So we're not making short-term changes this year. We are working on lifestyle changes that you can stick with. There's 5 steps to reaching your goals, and we will go into detail about each and every one of these. Number 1 is becoming motivated. Number 2, preparation and planning. Number 3, changing your behavior. Number 4, overcoming slips. And last but certainly not least is number 5, which is finding support. So let's start with step number 1, motivation. How motivated are you to make this change? And I think what really helps to determine this is finding out the deeper meaning of why you want to make this change. You know, anyone can say, I want to lose weight, but truly, why do you want to lose weight? Do you have a wedding that's coming up or a reunion where you really want to look wonderful when you walk in? Do you know that you have a family history of high blood pressure or diabetes, and you want to make sure that you don't gain any more weight because then that could lead to that health condition? Maybe you simply just want to lose weight because you want to have more energy. So what I would suggest is that you take pen to paper and really write down some of those things that are kind of rattling around in your head, and then use a motivation scale from 1 to 10. 1 being not motivated at all, and 10 being extremely motivated. And this might surprise you. Things that you thought you might really be ready to change, after you sat there and thought about the intrinsic reason for why you want to make those changes, they may not be as high on that motivation scale as you thought. And then again, those things that maybe were kind of in the background of your mind may start to emerge as something that's even more important and something that you are even more ready to tackle. So let's talk about step number 2, which is preparation and planning. So now that you know that you're motivated, let's put some tools in place to help keep you accountable. So first thing that's really important is to start tracking your progress. It helps you to see everything in black and white so that you can really truly see from a high level how you're doing. So let's look at some specific examples. If you are wanting to work on losing weight, I would recommend keeping a food diary. And the reason this is important is because if you have to write down everything that you eat throughout the day, a lot of times it can serve as a really good wake-up call. You know, you have to write down that 3rd soda that you've had. Or maybe, you know, 2 or 3 times today as you passed by the candy jar, you grabbed a handful, which normally probably wouldn't even pay attention to. But when you write those things down, you can start to see how those calories truly add up. If you're working on exercise, write down how many days a week you're going, what you're doing, and then if you had any barriers to working out. You know, what's stopping you? So if you know that, then you can figure out ways to work around that. If you're working on lowering your stress level, I think what's really important here is to document what's causing stress for you, because unfortunately the stress is never going to go away. So it's more about what's causing it, so then you can figure out ways to manage it. If you're working on saving money, it's kind of like tracking when you're losing weight, writing down everything that you spend money on. Maybe those lattes that you get every single morning are really putting a drain on your bank account. And then quitting tobacco, definitely writing down what your triggers are, when you're smoking, maybe even how you're feeling when you use tobacco, because then you can kind of zero in on, you know, why you may be picking that up and how you can change those behaviors. So last but not least, I would also recommend to make your goal public. And all I mean by that is let the people in your life know what you're trying to do. So if your friends ask you to step out for a smoke break and you say no, it's not because you don't want to be with them. It's because you're really, truly trying to make this change. And so your friends will understand that and they'll respect that. Likewise, if you all go out to lunch, and usually it's a, you know, burger and fry day, and you decide, you know, you're going to order a salad that day, it's just good for your friends and coworkers to have a heads up so that they know, you know, this person's working on their goal to lose weight, and that's why they're doing that. It'll help you to kind of get that support that you need. Because remember, this is the year that you're going to go from wanting to make a change to trying. So I'm sure all of you have heard about SMART goals, and this is really a good way to put the plan into action. It's like setting a real concrete goal. SMART stands for specific, measurable, actions, realistic, and timely. So let's use exercise as an example. How are you going to accomplish this goal? You've decided that you're going to go to the gym. Working out at home doesn't keep you accountable. You probably won't do it. Walking outside doesn't interest you, and you're not someone who likes to attend classes. So for you, the decision is to go to the gym. How often are you going to go? You've decided to tackle 1 day a week, Monday mornings at 6 a.m. Now, what actions are you going to take when you get to that gym? You're going to do 30 minutes of cardio and 30 minutes of strength training. So take a step back, ask yourself, how confident am I that I can do this? Use that scale from 1 to 10. And if you're feeling really confident, you know you're ready to dive in and make this change. And then when will you start and how long will you work on this? You are going to go to the gym Mondays at 6 a.m. for an hour, feeling really confident. You're going to start tomorrow for the next month. So the goal is in concrete now, and then at the end of the month it can become fluid again, where maybe you see that Mondays at 6 a.m. work really, really well, and you're seeing positive results, so you would like to add a second day, Wednesdays at 6 a.m. So you can always change the SMART goals, but it's just a really good way to kind of have that in concrete form, so you can really kind of watch your progress. So now that you have a plan and you've got your tools in place, you need to determine how you're going to change your habits and your environment to set yourself up for success. So we all have certain behaviors that we just do. They're habits for us. And some of them are even unconscious, where we might not even realize that you're doing it every single day. So whatever change you're making, think about putting alternative behaviors in that place. So for example, if you are working on quitting smoking and you know that one of your hardest times is right after dinner, you would put an alternative behavior in place to go brush your teeth and then wash the dishes by hand. And even if you have a dishwasher, do it anyways, because that is going to really help to keep your hands and your mind busy. You got to get through that craving, through that time when your mind is screaming at you, you know, excuse me, we usually always have a cigarette after dinner. So you'll kind of keep your hands and your mind busy so you can get through that craving. Also, if you are working on lowering the amount of money that you spend, maybe your behavior change is going to be that you bring your lunch to work every day. And instead of going out, that can really add up and save big money over time. Also, rearranging your environment is really important. If you are trying to eat better, definitely take some time, clean that pantry out, clean out the freezer, get rid of all of that stuff that tempts you. For me, I can just admit it, potato chips are my true weakness. If I have them in the house, they will sit in the cabinet and they will call my name, and I will just continue to go in there and eat them. So I know potato chips cannot enter my home. So when you figure out what your weaknesses and cravings are, try to just keep them out. It's going to set you up for success if those temptations aren't there. Likewise, if you are going to be working on, say, increasing your exercise, what might be helpful is to put out your exercise clothes the night before. So when you wake up in the morning and you're kind of in that sleepy fog and part of you is saying, crawl back into bed, you can just, put those sweats on, put your tennis shoes on, head out the door, and go do your workout. Rewarding your success is also a really huge part of this. There is nothing easy about making changes. And so to keep you motivated, you should set things in place, rewards, things that you can work towards, whether that be scheduling that massage that you've been thinking about, or maybe it's something as big as scheduling a trip, or something as small as going out and buying that new pair of shoes that you want. This is just something that's really going to keep you motivated and keep you wanting to work on making those changes. So step number 4 is kind of focusing on overcoming those slips or those backslides. It's just a fact of life. Everybody's going to slip. Everyone's going to backslide. Our lives, they go up and down, and that is just never going to change. The most important thing is to not beat yourself up. Remember that positive thinking is going to lead to those positive results, right? So use this as a learning experience. You know, what made you slip? What was really going on that caused you to backslide? So then you can figure out how to put an alternative behavior in action, so then next time when this comes up, you'll be more prepared and ready to deal with that. Okay? So for example, if you went on vacation and you gained a few pounds, totally normal. Most people do. Well, now you're back home. You have access to healthy foods in your home. You have your gym membership, so just get back on track. Maybe it's that you have been going to the gym and for some reason you've slipped out of the habit. Maybe try a new class. See if that re-energizes you. Or maybe see if, you know, you can call one of your friends and see if they'll go with you a couple times a week just to make you accountable. Remember, it's not how many times you get knocked down that count, it's how many times you get back up. So step 5 is finding your support team. So you want to find those people in your life that you know are going to be supportive and positive in your quest to making these changes. So maybe that is your spouse, your friends, coworkers. Maybe it's a health coach that can kind of take a look at things from a neutral standpoint and really help support you. I think in the beginning it's really easy to be motivated and work towards your goal. You're feeling confident. And then as the ebbs and flows of life happen, sometimes it becomes more challenging and you may not be feeling super motivated. So if you've got that change team in place, they're really going to be able to help and support you. We all need support. Some days you need it more than others. But as you guys all know, just a simple compliment or an encouraging word from someone can change, you know, the trajectory of your day. It can change the way you're feeling about things, and you may think, well, you know what, I can do this, simply because someone has given you a compliment or just kind of a supportive word. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty about these resolutions and put that plan in place. So let's use the resolution of losing weight. Excuse me. First question, why are you doing this? What is your intrinsic motivation? Is it because you want to increase your energy? Is it because you want to improve your health? You don't want to move towards taking any medications? So what do you need to do to accomplish the goal of losing weight? Well, remember to take those small changes, set those small goals that are going to lead to really big results. So for example, maybe you say, I'm going to start to eat a salad 3 days a week for lunch. You look at it that way, it doesn't seem so overwhelming. That way you know 3 days a week you're going to have a low-calorie meal full of vegetables and fiber. If that seems too much for you, maybe you say that you're going to try to eat one piece of fruit 3 times a week. Whether you eat that in the morning, whether at night if you know, your ice cream is screaming at you to come over and have a snack, instead go in there and have a pear or an apple. Doesn't mean you'll do it every night, but maybe this particular night you're feeling confident and you go ahead and grab that piece of fruit instead. And what that's going to do is really increase your confidence. So just to give you kind of a rough idea as far as calorie intake, the dietary guidelines for Americans suggest that for less active women and older adults, aiming for anywhere from 1,600 to 2,000 calories per day is a good goal. For active women and less active men, anywhere from 2,000 to 2,400 calories a day. And for active men, anywhere from 2,400 to 3,000 calories a day. So that's just kind of a generalization. I wanted to give you kind of a target to shoot for. So how do you track your progress when you're trying to lose weight? Well, we talked about tracking food. Writing it down, seeing it in black and white really can help you serve as a wake-up call. Also, listen to your hunger signals. Before you decide to eat something, stop and think, am I really hungry? Or am I bored? Am I stressed? Or is it just my habit at 4 o'clock I go in and grab something to eat? So just kind of take a step back and really assess to see if you truly are hungry. Next resolution is exercise. So what's your motivation to exercise? Is it that you're finally ready to tackle that 5K you've been thinking about? Is it that you just want to try to get in a better mood? Maybe it's a good way to help you manage stress. So what do you need to do to accomplish this? Well, we need to start with those small goals and small changes again. So I think we get into the trap of thinking if you don't go to the gym 5 days a week, that it's really not worth your time and you're not going to see results. When in fact, as long as you elevate your heart rate for 10 minutes at a time, that is considered exercise. And I want you all to view that as a success. So if right now your main focus is to take the stairs instead of the elevator, that's wonderful. Or if you decide that you're going to shave off 10 minutes of your lunch break so that you can go take a brisk walk for 10 minutes, awesome. Start with that. Just to give you an idea here, moderate activity would be something like a brisk walk, and it's recommended that you accumulate 2.5 hours per week. If you're doing some kind of vigorous activity, which I would consider jogging or running, that is when you would accumulate 1.25 hours per week. So as you can see, it's really not that overwhelming if you kind of look at it in that way. So how are you going to do this? You need to pick an activity that you somewhat enjoy. Exercise may never be the most favorite thing that you ever do, but find something that you somewhat, will like. Also find something that's convenient. That's the #1 reason people drop out of exercise is because it becomes inconvenient. And the other thing is break it apart. If you do 3 10-minute brisk walks, you will gain the same benefit as someone who does 30 minutes altogether. Next resolution is quitting tobacco. What's motivating you to make this change? Are you wanting to save money? Are you wanting to live longer? Are you simply wanting to get rid of that cough that you wake up with every morning? So what do you need to do? I think the most important thing is picking that quit date. It's kind of like that SMART goal where you've got that concrete date of when you're going to try to put down that tobacco. And then once you find that out, think about what your strategy is going to be. Do you need to vacuum out your car and put an air freshener in there? Do you need to, get really good smelling candles to have in the house and get rid of the ashtrays and all of that? So you're really setting yourself up for success. And then determine how you're going to accomplish this resolution. So it's going to be different for everyone. So are you someone who responds better to cutting back slowly? Or are you someone who likes to jump in head first and is ready to quit cold turkey? Or maybe you are someone who wants to use something like nicotine replacement therapy, or you want to discuss medications with your doctor. So there's lots and lots of options, and that's a really good thing. What I would recommend is maybe looking at your past, see what you've had success with and what you haven't, and that will kind of help to determine what step to take next. Last but certainly not least is that pesky stress. Usually what motivates people to want to change this is because they start to have changes in their health. If you are constantly feeling stressed and overwhelmed, your immune system goes down and you may be feeling sick more often. You may find that you can't focus at work, those kind of things. So usually it's the symptoms that bring this problem to the forefront. So what can you do to manage stress?